Today we are going to start geographical features and its impact on the Indian history. This is a first topic on the Indian history, and earlier we discussed introduction of the Indian history. After the introduction, this is the first chapter. Geographical features, how they impacted on the Indian history. According to the Richard Hucklet, he said that chronology and geography, these two are the two eyes of the history. So one should understand the chronology and one should understand the geography. Then only you can understand clearly the Indian history. Next, what is chronology? Chronology is a series or one row putting into the incidents, putting into the one order. For example, if you go to the movies or any movie, first in the movie it starts with the titles. After the titles, introduction of the hero. After that, introduction of the heroine. After that, introduction of the villain. This is a story order. Same like that, in Indian history should keep into the one chronological order on the year wise. So chronology is most important for the understanding of the history. Coming to the point of the chronology, to write the chronology or time period of any dynasty or any age, we are going to use two terminologies, that is, one is BC, another one is AD. One is BC, another one is AD. BC is before Christ. Before the birth of the Christ, that comes under the BC. AD, Anno Domini. The era of God started. Or the era of Lord started. For example, BC years will come from the top to bottom or in the decreasing order. Indus Valley civilization in Indian history. Indus Valley civilization or Harappan civilization in the Indian history, we can write from 2500 BC to 1500 BC. So BC means years will be in the decreasing order. That is 2500 to 1500, that was the decreasing order. Because nobody knows where the history started. That's why we have to we are going to the back. For example, until 1921, nobody knows about the Indus Valley civilization. So our Indian history starts from 1500 BC. Our Indian history starts from the 1500 BC. 1500 BC to 600 BC, that was the Vedic age. Before 1921, whatever the history book written by the different historians, they used to start history book from the Vedic age. Whenever 1921, through the excavations, we discovered Indus Valley civilization, our Indian history kicked back to the 1000 years back. That is, it went to the 2500 BC to the 1500 BC. So before the Aryans, there was a great civilization existed in the North India, Indus Valley civilization or Harappan civilization. That was from 2500 to approximately 1500 BC. Like this, we are going back 2500 up to the 2500, that means 4000 BC to the 2500 BC. This period is a Chalcolithic age. And again going to back from what is that to 6000 BC to the 4000 BC. This period is a Neolithic age. Next, going to the back 10,000 BC to the 10,000 BC to the 6,000 BC, it was a Mesolithic. Next, going back to the Mesolithic, 1 lakh BC to 10,000 BC, it was Paleolithic. So like this, initially we have to go into the back like that. And after reconstruction of this history, we will come from the Paleolithic to the Mesolithic, Mesolithic to the Neolithic, Neolithic to the Chalcolithic, Chalcolithic to the Indus Valley Civilization, Indus Valley Civilization to the Vedic Age. Like that, going to the back is one order and coming from back to the front is another order. All the years of this BC, they would be from top to bottom, or they are in the decreasing order. So that is BC. AD, Anno Domino, the era of Lord started. These years will start from beginning to the top, that is ascending order. For example, take the Gupta's age. Gupta's age. Gupta's age, it is from 300 AD to 550 AD. 300 AD to 550 AD. This is the Gupta's age. So AD is in the ascending order. BC is the descending order. This is what called as chronology in the Indian history. If you understand the chronology of the Indian history, then you can understand clearly, you will get a clear idea about the dynasties and the incidents of the India. Next after this, coming to the point of the geography, because Richard Hucklet, he said geography and chronology are the two eyes of the Indian history. Next, coming to the point of the geography. That means geographical features, how they impacted on the Indian history. There is no country in the world whose geography has not influenced in history or culture or political, social, economical conditions. In this all life, either going to the social life or going to the economical life or going to the political life or going to the religious life, whatever the life would be, this life this life affected by the geography. Always geography would be affected on these things. So India is no exemption. In the Indian history also affected geographical conditions on the society, economy, political system of India, as well as religious conditions of India. Indian subcontinent, coming to the point of the Indian subcontinent, it is a well-defined geographical unit. India is called as Indian subcontinent. It is a well-defined geographical unit. So forget about the present political map of India. This is ancient India, Indian subcontinent, having the parts of the Pakistan, Afghanistan and Nepal, Bhutan and parts of the Bangladesh, Myanmar. All these would come under the Indian subcontinent. Mainly this Indian subcontinent located in the tropical zone. Tropical zone. Situated in the tropical zone. Indian subcontinent as large as, only this Indian subcontinent as large as the European continent except Russia. If you leave the Russia, without Russia, it is more than the one continent, European continent. Coming to this, the boundaries of the Indian subcontinent. These boundaries always we used to come from the north. Take north, east, west, south. NEWS. News. News will come from like this, all the four sides. North, east, south, west. Northern India, boundaries of the northern India, Himalayas. And boundaries of the eastern India, that is Bay of Bengal, here Bay of Bengal. Southern part, Indus Ocean. Western part, Arabian Sea. India has three open seas: Bay of Bengal, Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea. Three open seas are there to understand the Indian boundaries. Next, the total area of India, it is around 329 million square kilometers. The total area of India, 329 million square kilometers. North to south, approximately 3000 kilometers. North to south. East to west, 3200 kilometers. East to the west, approximately 3200 kilometers of this India. Northern frontier is about 2400. Northern frontier. It was about 2400 kilometers. This is northern frontier. This northern frontier is around 2400 kilometers. Northern frontier. So the complete India. If you come to the point of the India, percentage of the different parts, like 10.6% of India occupies with mountains. It occupies with mountains. 10.6% occupies with mountains. 18.5% with hills. It occupies with hills, 18.5%. 27.7% of India, it is plateaus. And 43.2% was 43.2% plains. 10.6% mountains occupied, 18.5% hills occupied, 27.7% plateaus occupied, 43.2% plains occupied. So like this, based on this, India can be divided into four major physical units. One is northern mountain wall. We can be divided into four major geographical units. India can be divided into four major geographical units. Among them, first one is northern mountain wall. These are the Himalayas. Northern mountain walls are the Himalayas. Second, plains. Plains are different. Plains are there in India, like Indo-Gangetic plains and Brahmaputra plains. Indo-Gangetic plains and Brahmaputra plains. Third one, plateaus. Malwa Plateau, Gondwana Plateau and Deccan Plateau. Next, fourth major part of the India, coastal areas. Coastal areas. Coastal areas are western coastal area and eastern coastal area. India has two coastal areas, western coastal area and eastern coastal area. Like this, India can be divided into the four major geographical units. How these four geographical units are impacted on the Indian history? For example, how Himalayas are impacted on the Indian history and culture, how Gangetic plains are impacted on the Indian history and culture, and how plateaus are impacted, and how coastal areas are impacted on the Indian history. So, India is larger than many European countries. Afghanistan and Baluchistan also parts of the India. Once upon a time, this Afghanistan and Baluchistan, these two also parts of India. This Afghanistan and Baluchistan were under the control of the Indo-Greeks of that period. In the ancient period, they were under the Indo-Greeks. Indo-Greeks ruled that area. Sekas ruled that area. Kushanas also ruled that area. Parthians also ruled that area. Parthians. Indo-Greeks, Sekas, Kushanas, Parthians, like this different rulers, they ruled Afghanistan and Baluchistan areas in the ancient period. So India has all the characters of the continent, and also India has different characters like topmost and lowest. For example, coming to the point of the India has hottest spots, like hottest plains. What is the hottest plain of India? That is Alwar in the Rajasthan, about 50 to 60 degrees C temperature area. And coldest place in India, we can also find the coldest place in India. The coldest place in India, that was the Kashmir, that is around minus 45 degrees C. Kashmir. Hottest areas we can find in India, and coldest areas also we can find in Indian subcontinent. Along with this, coming to the point of the rainfall, you can find lowest rainfall areas in India, also highest rainfall areas in India. Rainfall, especially this is northern India, this is southern India. Vindhya Satpura regions divides India into North India and South India. In the northern India, rainfall, if you go from west to the east, going from west to the east, it increases. Rainfall increases. That's why we can find the highest rainfall areas in the northeastern states. Mizoram, that area. Masandram, area, or Cherrapunji, Masandram, Cherrapunji, these areas in the Meghalaya, they were highest rainfall areas. And in the northeastern India, you can find evergreen forest. Evergreen forest also you can find that means complete throughout the year it will be green. That is evergreen forest. Next, lowest rainfall receiving areas, Jaisalmer in India. Jaisalmer, that is in the Rajasthan. Lowest receiving area. Totally India, it receives 1200 centimeters to the 7.5 centimeters rainfall areas. Record in the world recorded rainfall areas you can be find in India. So India, it gets different characters, lowest and highest. Whereas if you come to the point of the South India from west to the east, rainfall decreases. Rainfall decreases. That's why in the western region, western coastal area, you will find evergreen forest. Whereas if you go to the eastern India, like Rayalaseema, Telangana, that areas receives very less rainfall. Because of the receiving rainfall, there occurred a difference in the crop production. That difference in the crop production will be difference in the economical condition. That economical condition would be difference in the social condition. That also makes difference in the political system of that area, and also living style of that area. That is completely geographical area is geographical unit. One geographical unit completely makes different from the other geographical unit. For example, if you take North India and South India, North India, South India, North Indian lifestyle is completely different from the South Indian lifestyle. North Indians, they used to have more wheat, barley, like that. South Indians, they used to eat more rice, because Godavari is the rice bowl of India. Rice production will be more in the South India, wheat production will be more in the North India. Based on the production, people culture would be different from one to the another. Take an example of our areas, like we have the states of two Telugu states, like Telangana and AP. The culture of Telangana is different from the culture of the Andhra Pradesh because of the geographical conditions. In the geographical conditions, first one is northern mountain wall. Northern mountain wall. What is that? Himalayas. Northern mountain wall is the Himalayas. How Himalayas are impacted on the Indian history? Himalayas are great sentinel of India. Unconstructed fort walls of India. Without construction, they were the fort walls of India. What is the importance of the Himalayas? The two most importance of the Himalayas, two most features of the Himalayas. The first one is they became the barriers of foreign invasions. Barriers of foreign invasions. No foreign invader would come from the Himalayas. There were no foreign invasions. Himalayas, they stopped the foreign invasions. But we have that in blind view until 1962. But coming to the point of the 1962, China crossed the Himalayas and China penetrated into India. We also fought with China in 1962, Indo-China war. During the time of the Jawaharlal Nehru, Indo-China war, India was defeated by the China. That's why V.K. Krishna Menon, he resigned for the defense ministry. But barriers, that was the old method. So we have to realize old things cannot continue the several periods. Whatever it may be, in the ancient and medieval period, even in the modern period of the Indian history, they became barriers of the foreign invasions. Whoever the foreign invaders, they came to India, they came from the Khyber Bolan process. They did not come from the China or no China invasions in the ancient period. And second major impact of the Himalayas, they stopped cold winds which are coming from the Siberian islands, Siberia. Siberian cold winds were stopped by the Himalayas. That's why we are wearing thin dresses. Comparing with the Chinese people. Chinese people, they used to wear thick dresses. We are using to wear thin dresses because of the Himalayas. Because of these two things, India behaves a different country from other Asian countries. India has different character from other Asian countries. like China, Japan, what is that, Thailand, all these areas would be different from the Indian subcontinent and Indian culture. So this is about the Himalayas, two major facts of the Himalayas. And coming into the deep of the Himalayas, they are from Baluchistan to the Assam. Himalayas, they stretched from Baluchistan in the northwestern region to the northeastern Assam, not up to the Arunachal Pradesh. Baluchistan to the Assam. Baluchistan area, it starts from Naga Parbat. That area, exactly this area is called as Naga Parbat area. Himalayas. Naga Parbat to the Namcha Barwa. That was in the Assam. Naga Parbat in the Baluchistan, from Namcha Barwa in the Assam. Nearly is stretched to 2,400 kilometers. 2,400 kilometers length of the Himalayas. And coming to the point of the width of the Himalayas, around 3,000 kilometers. Width of the Himalayas is the 3,000 kilometers. Because of this strongness, no foreign invader penetrated from the Himalayas into India of that period, in the ancient period. And the Himalayas can be divided into three parts again. These Himalayas we can divide into three parts. Western Himalayas, Middle Himalayas, these are the Western Himalayas, these are the Middle Himalayas, these are the Eastern Himalayas. This Middle Himalayas also called as Northern Himalayas. We will come from west to the east. First to Western Himalayas. Western Himalayas. In the Western Himalayas, we can be find Suleiman ranges, and also Hindu Kush ranges. Suleiman ranges and Hindu Kush ranges. These two are the important ranges in the Western Himalayas. Western Himalayas, they have some passes, especially Khyber Pass. Khyber Pass, it connects to Peshawar to the Kabul. It connects Peshawar and Kabul. It connects the Peshawar and Kabul. Peshawar located in the Pakistan, Kabul located in the Afghanistan. It lies between the Pakistan and Afghanistan. Khyber Pass. Most of the foreign invaders to India, they came from the Khyber. Most of the foreign invaders, they came to India through the Khyber Bolan passes. Khyber Pass and Bolan Pass also, like Alexander, Persians, Greeks, Scythians, Kushanas, all these they came from the Khyber and Bolan passes. Bolan Pass, it lies between the India and Pakistan. Bolan Pass lies between India and Pakistan. It is in the Suleiman ranges. What is originally pass? What is pass? Pass is a way between two great hills, or two big hills, or two big mountains. If there are two big mountains, between these two big mountains, this is a way. So this is what called as pass. This is a pass. The way which is between the two big hills, that is what called as pass. Like Khyber Bolan passes are the most important passes. This Bolan pass is very wide pass, and most of the Indian trade and commerce from Western India, that occurred through the Bolan passes. And Alexander, Persians, Greeks, Scythians, Sekas, Kushanas, Huns, all these people, Turks, all these people, they came to India via Bolan Pass. This Bolan Pass, it has a Swat Valley area. This Swat Valley is the way of Alexander. Swat Valley, it is a way of Alexander in the Hindu Kush and Indus regions. So, Western Himalayas impacted on the Indian history. How they impacted on the Indian history? Because of the Western region, they have passes. So, because of these passes, foreign invasions occurred through the Western Himalayas. Only Western Himalayas, they gave chance to the foreign invasions that impacted on the Indian history. All the Western foreigners, they came to India via Khyber, Bolan and Komal passes. Like in the latter period, Nadir Shah, he invaded on India. Ahmad Shah Abdali also invaded on India via Khyber Bolan passes. That is about the Western Himalayas. Remember, in the Western Himalayas, Suleiman ranges and Hindu Kush ranges, Khyber, Bolan, Gomal passes are there. These were impacted on the Indian history. After the Western Himalayas, in the northern mountain wall, next coming to the point of Middle Himalayas, how they impacted on the Indian history. Middle Himalayas. Topmost point of the Middle Himalayas, Karakoram ranges. Karakoram ranges. These Karakoram ranges are also called as Kailasagiri. Kailasagiri ranges or Kailasagiri hills. Karakoram ranges. Kailasagiri ranges. That was abode of Lord Shiva. Abode of Lord Shiva. According to our Indian tradition, Lord Shiva used to stay at his Karakoram ranges. If you go to the Karakoram ranges, you can visit Lord Shiva, Kailasagiri in the Karakoram ranges. After the Karakoram ranges, Jaskar ranges, Ladakh ranges and Pamir ranges, or these are called as Pir Panjal ranges. Pir Panjal ranges. These ranges are located in the northern Himalayas. Below the northern Himalayas, there are Jammu and Kashmir area. So this is different from one season to the another season. It behaves differently from one season to the another season. For example, during the winter period, people, they moved from one place to the another place because of the cold areas. People go to the plains, from the hilly area to the plains, because the hilly area completely covered with ice. They used to move from hilly area to the plain areas. Next, coming to the point of the summer. During the summer time, they used to stay there. This is a transmitting center of the Buddhism during the summer area. Summer area, it attracts the shepherds. It attracts the shepherds, the people, those who are rearing the sheep. They can easily continue in the summer area of that period. Attracts the shepherds. And Pamir Plateau, which is located in the Middle Himalayas, Pamir Plateau. This Pamir Plateau is a transition transmitting center of the Buddhism for other adjacent areas. That means Buddhism, it transfer from Pamir region to the Nepal, Pamir to the Indonesia, Pamir to the Tibet, Pamir to the China, like that. Transmitting from one place to the another place. That is especially Ladakh. Ladakh region, 90% of the people in the Ladakh, they were the Buddhist. This area, especially Dharmasthal, is the most important area. So this is center for the Buddhism. Pamir Plateau is the center for the Buddhism. Still Buddhism is developed in these areas. Even though Buddhism lost its importance in the India birthplace, but still it is surviving in Middle Himalayas, especially Pamir Plateau. So that is about the Middle Himalayas. Next to Eastern Himalayas are the most important Himalayas. Eastern Himalayas. Eastern Himalayas can be divided into three parts. They can be divided into three parts. One is Greater Himalayas. Greater Himalayas. Another one is Lesser Himalayas. Another one is Outer Himalayas. Greater Himalayas, Lesser Himalayas and Outer Himalayas. Almost all the greatest peaks in the world are situated in Greater Himalayas. Everest, K2. If you take 10 topmost peaks, 10 topmost mountains, 10 highest mountains in the world, out of 10, 9 are situated in the Greater Himalayas. Out of 10, 9 are situated in the Himalayas. For example, out of the Himalayas, Kilimanjaro in Africa, Tanzania, it is highest peak in the Africa, like that. Highest mountain range in India, Everest. Greater Himalayas are the centers of Hindu tradition. Hindu religion is also popularized in the Greater Himalayas, like Badrinath, Kedarinath temples. Badrinath, Kedarinath temples are situated in the Greater Himalayas. So it is a center for the Hindu traditional things, traditional religious things. Lesser Himalayas. Coming to the point of the Lesser Himalayas. Almost all the summer hill stations, almost all summer hill stations are located in the Lesser Himalayas, like Darjeeling, Simla. All these are situated in the Lesser Himalayas. Outer Himalayas. They are also called as foothills of the Himalayas. Outer Himalayas are the foothills of Himalayas. Foothills of the Himalayas. In these foothills of the Himalayas, it was a place of the early man in India. Early man in India. Early man Ramapithecus. Early man of India Ramapithecus. Ramapithecus found only one area in India, that is Hathnora. Hathnora. Hathnora, it was situated in the Sivalik Hills. Sivalik Hills are located in the foothills of the Himalayas. Sivalik Hills are foothills of the Himalayas. These foothills of the Himalayas, they have plains. Foothills of the Himalayas, they have plains. These plains are most fertile alluvial soil. And also these plain areas, they have very fertile. Used to produce more and more crop. Agricultural, first in Indian agricultural settlements. The first Indian agricultural settlements can be found in foothills of the Himalayas. The earliest agricultural settlements can be found in the foothills of the Himalayas. That you have to remember. That is the impact of the Himalayas and the Indian history. And also earliest states like Magadha Empire, that also established in the foothills of the Himalayas. Himalayas, they impacted more on the Indian history. So Himalayas are most important to survive India, and also Himalayas are divided India from other from other Asian cultures, So this is about the how impact of Himalayas on the Indian history. And then, yes, here now we completed the northern mountain wall. How that is Himalayas, how the Himalayas impacted on the Indian history, that we completed. Especially Himalayas are the barriers of India, that is one thing. Second one, Himalayas are stopping cold winds which are coming from the Siberian island. And Himalayas are also Hindu religious centers, Buddhist religious centers. So all these affected on the Indian history and culture. So in the next topic, in the next video, we will discuss about the plains of India. Plains, plateaus, coastal regions. This will discuss in the next video. Okay, good luck to you all.